أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش. يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو معكم أينما كنتم والله بما تعملون بصير. له ملك السماوات والأرض وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل وهو عليم بذات الصدور. آمنوا بالله ورسوله وأنفقوا مما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه. فالذين آمنوا منكم وأنفقوا لهم أجر كبير. وما لكم لا تؤمنون بالله والرسول يدعوكم لتؤمنوا بربكم وقد أخذ ميثاقكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. هو الذي ينزل على عبده آيات بينات ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وإن الله بكم لرؤوف رحيم. وما لكم ألا تنفقوا في سبيل الله ولله ميراث السماوات والأرض. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجات من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكلا وعد الله الحسنى والله بما تعملون خبير. من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعف له وله أجر كريم. يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم بشراكم اليوم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. والفاتحة بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our 10th night of our Muharram English program. Thank you, Brother Anwar Mahmood, for not only starting off our program tonight, but each of these last 10 nights. You did a wonderful job. I pray that you're rewarded for it greatly, inshallah. So tonight is the last night of our English lectures. While this will be our last night here, tomorrow is the 10th day of Ashura, so the mosque will still be having the program in the banquet hall tomorrow at 9 a.m. inshallah, with Sayyid Muhammad al-Sabri. But since it is our last night here, on behalf of the ICA, you and I, the community members, whether you attended the programs or joined us online, we would like to say thank you to Sheikh Abdurrahman Shirri. Thank you for being with us these past 10 nights, dedicating your time, letting us learn from your wisdom and knowledge as we get closer to our deen and remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We thank you so much and look forward to working more with you in the future, inshallah. I also would like to thank everyone who has taken the time out of their busy schedules, especially during these times, during Corona, to come to these events and to join us online each night. Inshallah, everyone has benefited from these programs. I pray that you all have and that you gain the rewards during this Ashura and always carry the legacy of Imam Hussein alayhi salam with you in your daily lives. If anyone has any feedback about the programs, please feel free to come up to me after the event or email us at unitednetworkofislam@gmail.com. Any feedback is good. Good feedback or constructive criticism, we'll take it all. On behalf of tonight's sponsor, they ask that we please recite Fatiha on the founder of the ICA, Sheikh Muhammad Jawad Shirri, Allah yarhamu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you all. So giving his last lecture tonight, inshallah, Sheikh Abdurrahman Shirri will be speaking about forgiveness and revenge. So please help me welcome him with a sincere, loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على رسوله المصطفى وخاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. I would like to thank you once again for coming to the commencement of the program that we had this year. And knowing that tomorrow would be the 10th of Muharram, and after tomorrow in some other regions in the world, it was usually the 10th of Muharram that was the most difficult day on the Imams alayhimus salam, because this is the day that their grandfather, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, was martyred. So the 10th had a special significance. It was on this day that the world changed for them. This is an event that will not be forgotten by them. And it is not to be forgotten by humanity either, because this is an event that concerns us all. Because the Imam transcended borders, transcended affiliations. He didn't live for himself or live for his family. He saw all of humanity being the creatures of God, being from God and returning to God. And this is how Ahlul Bayt dealt with people. They never formed cults. They never formed groups or affiliations. Throughout their lives, they told people to live with everyone as part of one community, whether they were part of your faith or not part of your faith. these borders and limitations that we put for each other, they're things that we invent in our minds. At the end of the day, we're all humans who share this earth together. We share this land together. And life doesn't move on and doesn't improve unless we all learn how to live with one another and learn how to work with one another. So perfecting your morality and perfecting yourself, which was the theme for the past few nights that we've had in this program, is something to be taken very seriously on a spiritual level and on a communal level, so internally and externally. One way to know if you're internally improving is to see how you behave on the outside, to think that you've gained a spiritual advancement in your life. You go out and you see how you deal with people. If you still have frustrations and anger and you have difficulties dealing with other people, then know that you haven't really gotten where you're supposed to be getting. A lot of times we're deceived. We think that we have some good moral traits in ourselves. But we come out to society, the moment we start dealing with the first person in our life, we notice that we really haven't worked as hard as we should have. We still suffer from that disease that we have. So we dealt with a hadith by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, describing the inner battle of the individual. And he divided the armies into two, intellect and ignorance, and each army had soldiers that were fighting their rivals. And we've mentioned a few vices and a few virtues, and today I wanted to end it with forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the virtues that the Imam talks about. If a person wishes to reach self-perfection and live a well-balanced life, a life of well-being, then forgiveness has to be a trait that exists in this individual. Forgiveness meaning letting go of internal agitations, letting go of internal frustrations towards other people. Because when you're dealing with other people, the first and foremost thing that you have to think about is whether your behavior with that individual is harming you or helping you. You have a problem with someone, at the end of the day, that person's going to go move away from you, but you're stuck with yourself. You can never separate yourself from your own self. That person goes, you've had a fight with them, you've angered yourself, you become frustrated, you become agitated, you ruin your mood. That person's not inside of you. What remains is what's inside, what's you. This you can't get rid of. You can run away from everything. You can run away from society. You can go live in a mountain or in a forest. Yourself is always going to be with you. That's one thing you cannot run away from. And it's the self that holds all these problems. Nothing on the outside. There's nothing where there's no problem you can remove and just throw in the garbage. It's all inside of you. It's not external. So perfecting yourself or working on your inner traits is what should be your objective and goal in life. If you want to have a healthy life, then fix what's inside of you. Don't try to look for solutions on the outside, always blaming things outside of yourself. People could be frustrating. People could be very annoying. People could really become irritating to the point that is intolerable. But you can't change that. It's your reaction to that you can change. So if somebody's bothering you or someone's irritating you, then your reaction to that dictates how internally well you're going to be or not well. So forgiveness is one of those things that the Imams say that we have to have as a trait. And the rival of forgiveness is revenge or retaliation. In a hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that pardoning means that a person should forgive that which is done wrong to him or her, and show forbearance with that which angers him or her. So there's two parts to forgiveness. The first one is to pardon the wrong that person has done to you. When someone does something wrong to you, as we all know, it's us that gets hurt. You let go of that feeling by forgiving that individual, you remove that internal pain. Then you are the one who lives a better life. Then you improve mentally and internally. You hold on to it and you say you don't want to forgive that person, then you're only destroying yourself. You're not hurting the other person. The only person that gets hurt in this equation is you. Your mood gets ruined, your behavior changes, your attitude becomes worse, and that person just continues on with their life. So the first part is to forgive that other individual. The second part is to show forbearance with that which angers you, something that bothers you or irritates you. It's not enough to say, well, I just forgive that person. Forgiveness shouldn't be something that is like a contract. If I don't like this contract, I just cancel it. So you've done something wrong to me, and the way I forgive you is I let go of my right, just like I let go of my house or let go of some other right that I have. This is not really what forgiveness entails. Forgiveness is to, first of all, step down from that right, or let go of that, and internally not have anything towards that other individual, not have anger. Only then does forgiveness happen and occur in the correct manner, and only then does it benefit the individual on a higher level. Now, how do we begin learning how to forgive people? We notice that as children, as we grow up in our houses, the way our parents behave and the way the parents behave with us as children affects us and affects our learning process in our life. Sometimes we see our parents in a dispute together. How do they handle it at home? Does the mother hold that grudge against the father? The child sees this and observes it. The child is very aware. And we all know this because whenever we get into a fight, we usually remember how our parents dealt with their problems. That comes to our mind. Oh, my father used to do this. Or my mom used to do this. My mom had a fight with her neighbor or her friend, and this is how she reacted. We always look for them as models of how to apply how to resolve our issues in our lives. It's a human trait. We look at them because we're born with them, and we've lived with them, and we learn these things from them. So the first step in order to allow this child who has a soul and will grow up and eventually go through his own struggles, own spiritual struggles, as a parent, you're responsible for raising that child to have a well-balanced life and to be equipped to face life's challenges. And that begins with teaching them at home, showing them as a role model, and not just through, acting in front of them, to really try to live that life in front of them. The father has a dispute with someone at work, or the mother at home, or even the child themselves. Some parents have a difficulty forgiving their children. Once the child sees that the parents are having difficulty forgiving and holding on to their right and creating problems and fights, then that's going to become part of the way they deal with their own life. It becomes part of how they think things should be done. But once they see that they let go of things, they don't hold grudges, and they're living a very reasonable lifestyle, then that child grows up to have an easier ability to let go of their own problems, to not hold grudges. And you notice it. Usually, if you look at a child that has that issue, usually their parents have the same issue. And we say, just like her mother, or just like his mother, or just like his father. That trait is passed on. So the house is very important, and it happens both ways. If a child sees that the parents are behaving in a certain way that's affecting their own well-being, then they should also try to come aware and try to amend this, because it has an effect on the child as well. So the first thing that we have to do is to make sure that our house and our household is living a healthy life in order for us to move on to society and be able to function healthily in the society as well. The second point that I wanted to mention is regarding our relationship with society as well. Now, we have a hadith, a very interesting hadith by Imam alayhi salam. He says that the best revenge is forgiveness. And I tried to think about that, and I'm sure everybody, has his own ideas and thoughts, and I'd love to also hear them, try to understand what the Imam means here. Why is the best of revenge forgiveness? If you want to take revenge against someone, why is forgiving him the best way? And I think there's many ways to look at this. One way that I thought about was the person who hurts you or bothers you usually wants to anger you. They want to irritate you. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to create that bad feeling inside of you. You're in a fight with someone, the more agitated you are, the angrier they can get you, the happier they become. But if they're doing something to bother you and irritate you, and you just let go of it and show that you don't even care about this and it's not bothering you, and you just turn your face around, that would turn against them. That would irritate them more. But it'll also calm it down. First of all, it'll end the problem. And secondly, it's the best way to have that person not get what they want. And once they learn that they can't get what they want through anger and through agitation, then they also would work on fixing their own moral traits. They won't repeat it. But once a person does something and it works, then they learn to repeat it more and more. And in relationships, this is very common. A person in the relationship does something. Once the partner reacts to that, then they learn that this is how I'm going to get that person every time. And they start repeating it and repeating it. So you become an enabler for that bad behavior of the other individual. You think that by becoming angry and reacting with anger to that person, you're establishing your right and you're dominating in the relationship and bothering the other person. In fact, you're not. You're allowing that person to get what they want. You maintain an environment of frustration between you two. And at the same time, you enable that person to continue that behavior. So if you're trying to get rid of that in your relationship, you're not. You're helping that remain and stay. But once you show the person that this is not working, they'll try it again, they'll try it a third time, eventually they'll let go of it. So this is one way I was able to understand this hadith, that the best of revenge is to forgive that other individual. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I wanted to end with one more hadith. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says that there are 3 acts with which God will only elevate the Muslim's honor with. The first one is to forgive those who have oppressed him or her. The second one is to give those who deprived him and her or her. And the third one is to establish ties with the one who has cut off relations with him or her. And I wanted to focus on the first one. The way I was able to imagine elevating beyond or above our differences was if you have like an inflatable ball on water and you fill it with a liquid. That's like the human self. The more you fill it with bad traits and evilness, it'll start sinking and sinking and sinking. But once you remove and having that agitation and frustration and just keep on adding and adding to your own self, these problems will just sink you deeper and deeper and deeper into your troubles and your problems. Forgiveness allows you to empty yourself, to free yourself of these negative traits. And once you do, you elevate and you float above all these problems. And you start looking at things from the top. And I always think about the people that are in the International Space Station. Once they leave, they all talk about one thing. Once they leave Earth and they go above it, they see that the problems that the humans have with each other are so ridiculous. You're looking down at this little sphere, and if you move out a little bit, it doesn't even show anymore. It's tiny. And these people that are inhabiting this area are killing each other, bombing each other, and destroying each other for what? So elevating above these differences allows you to be someone who is more morally perfect and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're able to live that life of well-being. But once you put yourself into those problems and don't remove yourself, then you shouldn't expect yourself to, have your suffering removed or your problems removed. So I'm hoping that, inshallah, once we leave here tonight, we'd be able to apply at least one of these in our lives. At least, if we have a group of people, begin trying to forgive them and let go of things. And once you see the benefits of that, you start doing it more and more. Usually we think that, it's counterintuitive, it doesn't work. If I forgive him, he's going to get used to this. But that's not usually the case. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove agitation and frustration from our hearts and to allow us to rise above our differences and our problems. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our deeds. And thank you very much for coming and attending And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate us in this world and the hereafter with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and to assist us in walking in their paths, and to thank them. The Imam sacrificed his life and his family for humanity. And the least we can do to thank him, to make that sacrifice worthwhile, is to walk in their paths and to improve ourselves. بحق محمد وآل محمد والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى ابنك الحسين المظلوم الشهيد. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة هذه الأمة. يا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي، فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. رضيع الصبط في الشهر الحرام، فطيم الموت في حر السهام. رضيع الصبط في الشهر الحرام، فطيم الموت في حر السهام. عزيز الروح والأحشاء ضامن، سقاه السهم من كأس الحمام. Tonight is the eve of the 10th of Muharram. Tonight is the eve of the day of Ashura. A very tragic night. The last night for the 72 commanding martyrs of Karbala. The last night for brothers to be with their sisters. The last night for fathers to be with their children. The last night for mothers to be with their sons. The last night for little Sukaina to be with her beloved Uncle Abbas and Father Hussein. Indeed, a night never to be forgotten, a night to shed more tears. Tonight mothers are sitting with their children. Layla's with Ali al-Akbar, Ramla is with Qasim, Zainab is with Aoun and Muhammad. What are these mothers of Karbala telling their beloved sons? They are preparing them for the sacrifice. They are preparing them to die. Why? Why, my respected brothers and sisters? Because they know that Imam al-Hussein is on the path of God, the correct and right path to save Islam. Together, let us on this night send our hearts and salams to those mothers in Karbala. Tonight, Abbas, the flag bearer, like every night, Abbas was guarding the camp. Where was Imam al-Hussein? Imam al-Hussein had gathered all his companions in his tent. My friends, my companions, tonight is the last night. Tomorrow is the day of martyrdom. None of us will be spared by Yazid's soldiers. Imam al-Hussein continued, my friends, my companions, you have suffered enough. There is still time to save your lives. Escape in the darkness of the night. I will have no objections. I will forgive you. Go, my friends, go. Go, my companions, in this night. Imam al-Hussein blew the candles off. There was total darkness. Anyone could have escaped without being seen or embarrassed. After a while, Imam al-Hussein lit the candles. How many ran away? 1, 2, 5, 10. No one, my brothers and sisters. Why didn't they run away to save their lives? Because, my fellow lovers of Imam al-Hussein, they had recognized the truth. They knew Imam al-Hussein was the very truth. They knew Imam al-Hussein was on the true path, because they knew their sacrifice would save Islam. Tonight, on this night, our greetings to those 72 companions of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein made the greatest sacrifice. In one day, he lost his brothers, his nephews, his sons, his companions on the day of Karbala. He remained patient after seeing so many dead in one day. Yet did Imam al-Hussein ever complain? On the contrary, after sacrificing his 27-year-old son Ali al-Akbar, he looked up at the sky and said, Ya Allah, give me more patience. Ya Allah, is there anything else I can give for your sake? Imam al-Hussein kept giving more and more and more for Allah. One of the greatest sacrifices the Imam made on that day was his son Ali al-Asghar, his 6-month-old baby. The little mujahid, the little soldier of Imam al-Hussein, the youngest martyr on that day. Ashura came to the land of Karbala. One by one, Imam al-Hussein's companions and family members were martyred. By Asr time, by the afternoon, Imam al-Hussein was left alone. The time had come for Imam al-Hussein to go to the battlefield. Imam al-Hussein bid his family farewell. Imam al-Hussein, with his sword on his waist, mounted his horse Dhul Janah. Imam al-Hussein rode. He didn't ride far until he then called out loudly, هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من معين يعيننا. Is there anyone to help us? Is there anyone to help the grandson of Muhammad? With this call, the grandson of the Holy Prophet was giving one last chance to Yazid's men. The men who called themselves Muslims. What hypocrites! That's what Yazid's men were, willing to kill the very grandson of Prophet Muhammad. jihad who the Prophet had enjoined them in. My brothers and sisters, no one heard Imam al-Husayn's call, but the sound of crying came from the tent. Imam al-Husayn turned around. He returned to his tent. He told her, Zainab, your brother is still alive. Zainab, why are you crying? Sayyidah Zainab told him, my brother, when you called out, when you said, is there anyone to help me? Ali al-Asghar, your little infant, fell from his cradle. Imam al-Husayn knew what Ali al-Asghar was trying to say. Imam al-Husayn went to Rabab. Ali al-Asghar was on her lap. He was crying. Rabab was trying to comfort him. Hussein then picked up the baby. He laid him on his chest and whispered in his ear. Ali al-Akbar then stopped crying. He looked up at his father and smiled. Imam al-Husayn turns to Rabab and says, Rabab, I am taking Ali al-Asghar to the battlefield with me that I can get some water for him. Imagine an infant 3 days thirsty. His mother's milk had dried. What did Imam al-Husayn whisper in Ali al-Asghar's ear? What made Ali al-Asghar stop crying and smiled? It is as if Imam al-Husayn had whispered, my son Ali al-Asghar, do you want to come to the battlefield with me? Asghar, do you want to show your strength on the battlefield? Come, let us go, my little mujahid, my little soldier, my little Asghar. Rabab changed Ali al-Asghar's clothes. Imam al-Husayn carried Ali al-Asghar to the battlefield. It was very hot, such that the horses of the enemies could not sit on the ground. They could not keep their hooves on the ground. Ali al-Asghar was thirsty. Imam al-Husayn covered Ali al-Asghar with his aba, with his cloak, to protect him from the scorching sun. Yazid's men saw Imam al-Husayn approaching with something in his hand. They said, look, Husayn is coming with the Quran. He has no one left to help him. With the help of the Quran, he is hoping to win. Imam al-Husayn walked to Yazid's soldiers. By moving his cloak, he uncovered Ali al-Asghar. He held Ali al-Asghar up high for all the army to see with his 2 hands. He said, O soldiers of Yazid, you feel I have offended you, but what has this child done to you? His mother's milk has dried up. He has not had a drop of water for 3 days. He is dying of thirst. I beg you to give water to this innocent child. Not one of Yazid's soldiers brought any water to Ali al-Asghar. Once more, imagine this scene. Close your eyes and imagine this scene. Once more, Imam al-Husayn asked them, maybe you think that when you bring the water for this child, I will drink it too. I will put this little child on the ground. You can come and give him water yourself. Imam al-Husayn placed Ali al-Asghar on the burning sand of Karbala. Ali al-Asghar lay quietly on the sand. He turned his head and stared at Yazid's man, but no water came for Ali al-Asghar. Imam al-Hussein picked up Ali al-Asghar and said, it's as if he said, my son Ali al-Asghar, you are too young to fight with a sword or a spear, but you are the grandson of Ali. Ali al-Asghar, fight your jihad with your tongue. Little Asghar stuck his dry tongue out and moved it over his dry lips, looking towards Yazid's man. He fought on that day with his tongue. The little soldier with his tongue, it hit the hearts of Yazid's soldiers who had children of their own. They became restless. Some started crying. They spoke amongst themselves. They said, Hussein is saying the truth. What has this child done to us? Why is he punished like this? Let us give him some water. Umar ibn Sa'd got worried that his soldiers would turn against him. The little soldiers' fight was very effective. Ali al-Asghar was fighting in his own way. Just at that moment, Umar ibn Sa'd turned to his best archer, Harmala. He told him, Harmala, what are you waiting for? Silence the child. Don't you know he is a grandson of Ali? Hurry, shoot your arrow before it is too late. Harmala aimed an arrow at Ali al-Asghar, but was it any arrow? Historians say Harmala used a three-pronged arrow, the same one used for hunting. He stuck the arrow in his bow. He pulled it back. At that moment, Ali al-Asghar had raised his hand. And just then, Imam al-Hussein saw the arrow coming. He covered Ali al-Asghar with his arms, but the arrow was too quick. The arrow went through Imam al-Hussein's arm and lodged in the tiny neck of Ali al-Asghar. At that moment, Ali al-Asghar passed. Ali al-Asghar's hands fluttered like the wings of a butchered bird. Allahu Akbar. Imam al-Hussein had came only to get water for his 6-month child. But what did they feed him with? Gently, Imam al-Hussein pulled the arrow from Ali al-Asghar's neck. Blood gushed out from Ali al-Asghar's neck. Narrations say a voice came from the ground and told him, no, Hussein, no, do not let Ali al-Asghar's blood fall to the ground. Otherwise, no crops will ever grow from this earth. Imam al-Hussein then looked up at the sky. The sky too told him, no, Hussein, no, do not let the blood gush towards the sky. Otherwise, no drop of rain will ever fall from the sky. Where will Imam al-Hussein put Ali al-Asghar's blood? Imam al-Hussein, weeping, took Ali al-Asghar's blood and wiped his face with it. He wiped it up on his beard. Hussein then started walking towards his tents. He saw Ali al-Asghar's mother standing by the tent. How could he face her? 7 times he walked back and forth from the tent. He couldn't face Rabab with Ali al-Asghar. He kept saying, to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. He finally reached Rabab. Rabab fell to the earth. Later they would bury the child. But after they buried the child, when Imam al-Hussein had been martyred and the tents in Ashura were burned, the army had seen Imam al-Hussein burying his child, and so they dug the grave of Ali al-Asghar and even slaughtered his baby and stuck his head upon a spear. Your father came asking for you. Your sweet cries didn't fill the air. Has the thirst strangled your vocals? Your pain muffled by despair? Does your thirst hide your innocence? Just like my veil hides my hair. I picked you up in my two hands, your tiny hands clenched into me. To me, no longer thirsty, I'm left clinging to your cradle. Tears poured from Imam al-Hussein's eyes upon his grave. Imam al-Hussein's tears sprinkled Ali al-Asghar's grave. Yet we end with this, my brothers and sisters. Before the day of Ashura came, before the day when Ali al-Asghar would be martyred, Zainab foresaw all of this coming, and so she had but one word to say. She had but one night to plea on this night, but one plea to plea on this night. She told the night. It's as if she says, "Oh night, prolong your hours. Oh night, protect these flowers. Ya Layl, طول ساعاتك. Ya Layl, احمل آهاتك. لو ودعت الوليان تتولاني العدوان." Together. يا ليل طول ساعاتك. يا ليل احمل آهاتك. يا ليل طول ساعاتك. يا ليل احمل آهاتك. لو ودعت الوليان تتولاني العدوان. لو ودعت الوليان تتولاني العدوان. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. To Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. Narrations mention that Imam Muhammad al-Mahdi will rise in Mecca on the 10th of Muharram, on the day of Ashura. We pray that on this night, very soon, we will be preparing ourselves to join our Imam on the following day. May Allah make us among His commanders. When the Imam gives news to his commanders, may Allah make us one of them. May Allah allow us to prepare for the Imam in every night, Tonight we pray for him together. Together we recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. For all of the lovers, the followers, the Shia of the Ahlul Bayt, in particular for our maraja and scholars, and for the hastening of the reappearance of the Imam of our time, kindly recite Surah Al-Fatiha with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sent Brother Yunus, thank you for reciting each of these last 10 nights. That concludes the program for these 10 nights of our English lectures. Thank you all for coming. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.